Ronna McDaniel with us this morning. That is the RNC chair. Ronna, are you going to take education as the big issue into next year's elections for the Republicans, 2022?
Well, I'm very passionate about this, Stuart, because I'm a mom of kids in public school. And during the pandemic, my kids were virtual and it was a nightmare. And to say to parents like me that I don't have a say in my kids' education as I was balancing work and Zoom classes and watching my son take virtual ceramics, let me tell you, I have a say in my kids' education. And when politicians are shutting my child out of the classroom and your child out of the classroom and watching private schools and charter schools in class, we know that politicians failed us. And for McAuliffe to say that parents have no say is deeply offensive, especially when parents were on the front lines of the pandemic, getting their kids educated and fighting for their kids every step of the way.
You think all Republican candidates will pick up on this next year?
I think so. I think we know that suburban women and men are really looking at this issue. And as CRT is being injected in the schools and as parents' voice are being diminished and school boards are having outsized control and Democrat politicians are more interested in the teachers union than the parents, I think everybody should be looking at this as a key issue heading into 2022 because parents really suffered during this pandemic, and it is not over. There are still mental health issues that the kids are dealing with. We're still backlogged with the education that was lost during the pandemic, especially in Democrat states where kids were kept out of the classroom. Republican states didn't do that. Republican states kept the kids in the classroom. And that's why you're seeing this divide. And Democrats are doubling down. They're doubling down on that rhetoric. McAuliffe has not pulled back from saying parents shouldn't have a say in their kids' education. It is deeply offensive.
New Jersey's gubernatorial race, that's also in the very final days. That's also fairly close. The Democrat, Governor Murphy, he's 6 points ahead of his challenger, but that's just outside the range of margin of error. So it's not altogether over by any means. Now, that race seems to be all about taxes. What do you say to that?
Well, New Jersey's like the highest tax state in the country. It's crazy. I think New Jerseyans pay more taxes over their lifetime than any other state in the country. I was just in New Jersey, in Medford, with Jack Ciattarelli, the candidate for governor. He's phenomenal. He really is running on restoring that economy. He's pushing against Murphy at every single level. And this really is a race that's tightening. Early voting just started. So momentum does matter, and the momentum is on Jack Ciattarelli's side in New Jersey.
If the Republican won in New Jersey and the Republican won in Virginia, that is a sea change bordering on a revolution. You agree with that?
Yeah, I'd be doing a big happy dance.
Me too.
But you know who'd be happier? The voters of those states. We are seeing the voters really push back on Democrats as inflation's rising, our national security issues, our borders out of control, as education has been taken over by unions and not focused on the kids. I mean, on every single issue, Democrats are failing the American people right now. And it is time for every voter to step up and make that change and vote for Republicans, not just in Virginia and New Jersey, but in the midterms in 2022, if we're ever going to stop what they're doing to our country.
Well, Ronna, I have to live in New Jersey, so you appreciate where I'm coming from. Ronna McDaniel, thank you very much for being with us. It's okay. Thanks very much for being with us.
I love New Jersey. I'm sorry about your governor.
Okay, take that. Thanks, Ronna.